great. Please be seated. Good morning, graduating students, faculty and staff, family, friends, and honored guests. Welcome to the 45th commencement of the Lyndon Baines Johnson School of Public Affairs. I'm Angela Evans, and I have the great honor of serving as Dean of this great school. On behalf of the LBJ community, I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to you, the students of the class of 2017. I also want to congratulate all of those in the audience who've helped you on this journey. We are so proud of all that you've accomplished here at the LBJ School, and that I know you will accomplish once you leave our doors. I also want to extend congratulations to you from Mr. Brokaw, who could not be with us today due to a medical treatment he's received earlier this week. He sends his heartfelt regrets and wishes he could be with us, so he said he'd be thinking about us right at this moment. He's in New York. It has been an honor watching you grow, growing into the graduates, into the adults, into the mature professionals that you are, the compassionate, committed young people who will no doubt leave their mark on the world, just as you left your mark on the LBJ School. I want to thank the many individuals who are part of the LBJ community, the faculty, there's some sitting in the front row there as well, who have not only shared their knowledge and expertise with you, but have also mentored and challenged you as well. And the staff, all of the staff who are quietly behind the scenes trying to do whatever they can to meet your needs when you need it and on time. I also want to thank our alums, or some alums in the audience, who are extraordinary examples of the power of the LBJ education. I also want to thank my extraordinary husband, Gary. And Gary's sitting right there in the very first seat. Gary has been my partner, my anchor, and my true love for 43 years. So let's talk about today. Today is a day of celebration, a day to honor your hard work and the investment you have made in your future, your community, and your country. While your time at LBJ has come to a close, you are about to embark on a new journey, one that you are well prepared to undertake. No matter where your paths lead you, whether you find yourself in public, private, or nonprofit sectors, never forget the spirit of service instilled in you here at the LBJ School. You must keep that strong. Our graduates do not run from tough problems. Rather, they seek them out. They seek out the most complicated, multifaceted, and contentious issues of the day and wade right into them with their sleeves rolled up. More often than not, these hard-to-solve issues are the ones that matter the most, and the ones that require bold inquiry and fearless debate. There is no doubt you're up to the task. There is no doubt, too, the road ahead is daunting, perhaps more so than it's been for any graduating class in recent history. The country is more divided than it has been in decades. The most recent presidential election and transition have been riddled with uncertainty, factual distortion, and even reports of foreign meddling. Our system of checks and balances is being tested, and how it stands and withstands this test will determine whether the bedrock values of democracy in America and around the world are abandoned or they endure. We must strengthen our ability to judge what is true and what is not true, what is hearsay and what is not hearsay, what is reliable information and what is not reliable information. If we lose the ability to do these things, we will risk the survival of our informed democracy. Facts, data, research, and authoritative information serve to illuminate socioeconomic and global problems. The place for political conversations and debates is around solutions to those problems. The role of government, who wins and who loses in the policy, occurs in the debate over options, not the debate over facts. The election also reminded us that we live in a complex and diverse society where good folks differ on what are some of the most fundamental challenges to America and how we meet those challenges. It is you and your colleagues who have to ensure that these differences do not divide us further, but rather enrich us, afford us a wide array of choices and enormous opportunity to broaden our perspectives, to spark collaboration, to get our collective energy together, and to transform the way we think about ourselves and ourselves in relation to others, not only here in this country, but around the globe. The stakes could not be higher. Do not let cynicism of the state of our politics today distract you from your aspirations. Stay strong, stay firm, keep your north. Double down on these aspirations. Drive toward them with renewed intensity and courage. Be a flame that fuels progress, as young people around the world have always been, ignited by all that you have learned at the LBJ School and the wonderful people you've met, both in your classmates and in the faculty and staff here. In the time that you have been here, you think you've become policy analysts. Well, that's true, but you've also become much more. You've become litigators, archaeologists, journalists, historians, and entrepreneurs. Didn't think you were that, did you? As litigators, you know what questions to ask and can probe for answers. As archaeologists, you've learned how to be patient and how to dig deep, looking painstakingly for fine details, small clues. As historians, you've learned how to place events and actions in historical context. As journalists, you've learned how to be objective and relentless in your pursuit of facts and how to convey that information in ways that people understand. As entrepreneurs, you've learned how to negotiate tensions and mediate conflict, and you have learned how to embrace innovation and how to break with the status quo. You must have all of these traits because, well, public policy is complicated. It's also imperfect. As a policy professional, always remember that in a democracy, tensions will persist. Circumstances will change. Information will grow. And innovations will emerge. No one has the answer, the perfect solution. So, my dear students, continue to question the things about which you feel most certain. Do not get boxed into your own conventional wisdom. Continue to seek and listen with an open mind to those whose views differ from your own. Continue to find comfort in the gray space because issues of policy are rarely clear or binary. And always, always, always opt to do the right thing, no matter how difficult. Let me now call on Chandler Stope, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, who will present two of our most prestigious student awards. Chandler?
Good morning. Many years ago, the Lyndon Baines Johnson Foundation, which supports both the LBJ School of Public Affairs and the LBJ Presidential Library, established an award that would be given to the master's student with the distinction of graduating with the highest grade point average. I would ask that you come forward when I call your name to receive a check on behalf of the LBJ Foundation in honor of your academic achievement. Samuel Story, congratulations. For over 40 years now, faculty members have nominated students for the Emmett S. Redford Award for outstanding research that offers insights into public policy process or is of practical significance to policymakers. I understand from the faculty committee that reviewed these nominations this year that there were several excellent submissions to consider. The competition was tight. It's now my pleasure to announce the recipient of this year's Redford Award. The 2017 Emmett Redford Award goes to Brent Wallace Perdue for his professional report. Brent's report was entitled Solid Waste Management in Greater Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Brent is a dual degree student with UT's program in Community and Regional Planning. His supervisors were Robert Wilson of the LBJ School and Björn Sletto of the Community Regional Planning program. Brent Brent's research involved participated observation of trash management practices in the Dominican Republic, both those pursued by civil society organizations as well as by residents of informal settlements. His field research was exceptionally rigorous and systematic, yielding great insights into poorly documented yet innovative approaches to solid waste management in struggling urban settings in the developing world. Brent thoughtfully framed the Dominican case in the context of the theoretical literature on neoliberal governance to contextualize the case in question. His thesis is an exemplary model of integrating theory, policy, and the practice of urban planning, all grounded in empirical analysis and original data. Once again, let's hear it for Brent Perdue. It's now my great honor to introduce Daniel Jimenez, who will announce the class gift of 2017. Daniel.
Thank you, Dean Stoll. Good morning, everyone. It is truly a privilege and my honor to introduce this year's class gift. I would like to take this moment to quickly thank my class gift co-chair, Lucy Kellison, for being my better half on this project. Truly, I could not have done this alone. The LBJ graduating class of 2017 chose to fund a social justice fellowship as this year's class gift. The class gift is a special tradition here at the LBJ School. For one, it represents a chance to give back to an institution that has given us so much over the past 2 years. An institution that has been not only a school, but a home for all of us. The class gift is also an opportunity to honor President Johnson's legacy of civil service. This legacy, represented by our school, includes the Civil Rights Act, a watershed in American policy, and a giant leap forward for social justice. And although more than 50 years have passed since President Johnson's civil rights legislation, the need for aspiring public servants committed to realizing progressive policy change is perhaps now more important than ever. President Johnson recognized that the way up towards that great society would be paved with obstacles. But he also knew that, as policymakers and as Americans, we are called upon to represent the people that we serve. This means people of different backgrounds, different skin colors, different beliefs. In his 1965 inaugural address, President Johnson said, "Justice requires us to remember that when any citizen denies his fellow, saying, 'His color is not mine,' or 'his beliefs are strange and different,' in that moment, he betrays America." Well, if there's one thing LBJ and my talented classmates have taught me, it is in the power of different people with different ideas coming together to accomplish ends that benefit the whole community. So when we step out of the auditorium today and begin our own legacies as public servants and leaders, let us continue to model the virtues of cooperation and unity. Let us continue to volunteer our time towards policy issues we care about. Let us continue to support and love one another. And as we consider how we, the class of 2017, will contribute to President Johnson's legacy, let us bear in mind that the cause of justice rests in all of us. This gift is a reflection of President Johnson's belief in the power of public servants dedicated to positive policy change across all fields. I am so proud to announce that the LBJ class of 2017 has already raised $1,232 towards the fellowship. Congratulations, y'all. And you can continue to support this fellowship by following the link in a class gift email also included in your program. We are that much closer to reducing graduate school costs for future policymakers. Thank you all for your contributions and for supporting President Johnson's vision of a more just society. I would like to now turn the mic over to Dean Evans. Thank you.
I want to congratulate the awardees, and I really do want to thank the class for this gift. Fellowships are so important in helping students who want to interrupt a career, come back to school, and not get into further debt. So this is a very generous beginning to a great fellowship. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce this year's student commencement speaker, Mary Vo. Mary was chosen for this honor by her graduating class. Mary exemplifies all that we could hope for from a student at the LBJ school. And early on, it was clear she was destined for exceptional career in public service, most specifically in development and foreign programs. Her global aspirations have been shaped by practical education, tempered by world experiences, and fueled by humanitarian convictions. What a combination. Between 2012 and 2014, Mary worked as an assistant language teacher in Japan in a Japan exchange and teaching program in Takamutsu, where she familiarized herself with Japan's disaster preparedness and mitigation models. During this time, she also visited shelters for abandoned children and flood-prone neighborhoods across Vietnam, shaping her desire to return in a stronger capacity when her professional career was under her belt. Mary's undergraduate work in urban studies here at UT prepared her to translate these experiences and ideas into practical objectives with projects based in viable community-engaged research. One such project, produced under the guidance of Dr. Paul Adams, was an extensive report on pedestrian-bicycle interactions on UT campus. She shared her findings at the Liberal Arts Oral Research Symposium. But here at the LBJ School, as a Master of Global Policy Studies, Mary has continued to realize her goal in life and dedicated to global welfare. She has met the demands of a rigorous academic setting and, as importantly, embraced and excelled in selected practical learning and research experiences. Mary served as a graduate research fellow for Innovations for Peace and Development, an impactful program on international development on foreign aid, spearheaded by Dr. Kate Weaver, who's up there in the rafters there, and Michael Findley, who is our colleague in the government department. As a 2016 Pacific delegate for the Carnegie Council, Mary traveled to Japan to research gender and economics. She took on the duties of treasurer for the school's Public Affairs Alliance for Communities of Color, which works to promote awareness and understanding of policy issues affecting communities of color. Mary has thrived at the LBJ school, forging enduring relationships, establishing lifelong colleagues, and laying the foundations for a career dedicated to the greater good. She also was very instrumental in entertaining us last month with Follies and did a great job there. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so proud to introduce one of our finest student leaders, Mary Vo.
Thank you, Dean Evans. Good morning, fellow LBJ school graduates and kind guests. It is an honor to represent the class of 2017. Today, we gather to recall our time together, bid farewell to an indelible experience, and look ahead with high hopes. First, I would like to recognize the wonderful faculty and staff of the LBJ School. You are what make this school a revered institution of knowledge, empowerment, and change. To our esteemed faculty, thank you for your guidance and patience. To us, you have been valuable educators, exemplary practitioners, reliable mentors, and even trustworthy friends. I hope that after today, we continue our relationship in sharing knowledge and working together in whatever capacity possible. To our beloved staff, thank you for your tireless efforts to ensuring the best educational experience for us students. We recognize your work every day from early morning to late at night, and are glad to know that future students will be left in capable hands. And to my classmates, I would like to say, this is truly a moment to behold, to be in the same room as you. What are the odds that every single one of us is here to celebrate such a remarkable milestone? How is it that such a mixed group of people from different places, walks of life, and beliefs felt compelled to come here and pursue the same goal, to learn and immerse themselves in the world of public affairs? How did we find ourselves here today? My parents fled Vietnam in the late 1970s, but they did so separately. They wouldn't meet each other until later, and in Texas of all places. What it must have been like to start a new life here, I don't know, but I felt the shadows of it. As my parents' first child, I quickly came to realize my identity crossed between two worlds, one Vietnamese and one American. Having been born here in Texas, I recognize the privilege of not knowing the fear, suffering, and uncertainty my parents endured when they escaped a place they regarded home. But I did sense how these experiences followed them to the United States. My parents worked tirelessly to carve out their place here, often trying to prove themselves worthy of the American dream to invisible judges of their fate. But my family lost footing to the American dream. Poor mental health, financial instability, the dissolution of my parents' marriage, the changes in our housing situation, and the consequent disruptions in my siblings and my education threatened any chance of future success. Thankfully, such hardships remain in the past as I stand firmly here with you all to embrace the possibilities ahead. As I have grown, so has the universe of my identity, with many worlds to hold my life experiences. But recent events suggest that history repeats. And now I wonder what I can do to help those who may experience any part of what my family did, from seeking refuge, to starting anew, to falling down, and to becoming resilient. I look at all of you, and I see beauty. I see the beauty in all your efforts to discover each other's universes. Such efforts first require us to overcome the natural inclinations toward selfishness. It is people like you, policymakers, educators, advocates, mentors, counselors, who brought people like my family here. This personal story serves a constant reminder of my faith in public service and the values of our school's namesake. As we have learned, problems stem from scarcity of resources, time, and space. But to deal with these problems, we first have to be compassionate, to recognize suffering and work to alleviate it. And isn't that at the core of public service? Public service is compassion, or at least it should be. Compassion does not make us soft-hearted. Instead, it reinforces our convictions to realize a better end for all. Compassion is a learned ability, and a limitless one at that. In another reality, I would not be with you today. But often I've asked myself, what is my place here? Do I belong? The question of place is abstract in history, in culture, and in the world. The question of place is undoubtedly more difficult for people with even more challenging backgrounds, disadvantaged, marginalized, ignored, obscured, silenced. How can we work together to answer the question of place for people everywhere? The past 2 years have constituted a turning point, but to what direction? We face immense challenges to seeking racial justice, gender equality, environmental justice, global prosperity, and security for all. In our conversation with history, we should reflect on the past and proceed with care. Acknowledge and assess what history has recorded and what it hasn't. Speak up when we believe that history has failed to represent us accurately. Reflect on ourselves to see what we have contributed to history's harmful narratives. As we graduate, we should continue to work with those who hold different beliefs. By no means do I believe that hard discussions will all bear fruit. Rather, we can succeed if we recognize possibilities for compromise and demonstrate patience and understanding toward a shared vision. Start with the most basic form of communication, stories of the human experience. Our stories carry raw power to persuade and open the minds of our listeners. Be assertive and objective and share them widely. Also, be willing to listen. Without anyone to listen, our stories mean nothing. I have seen here at the LBJ school the richness of what happens when people set aside their differences to work together. The evidence is in the many student organizations, community outreach efforts, and publications overseen by us here. In this room, I see a community of leaders fueled by curiosity and conviction. I see formidable minds, gentle hearts, and master storytellers. But above all, I see champions of equality and justice. It has been an honor to learn and work with you. I will miss our hallway run-ins, impromptu lobby debates, happy and unhappy hours, travel misadventures, and our follies. We leave behind the sleepless nights of writing assignments and problem sets in order to find our place outside. Though we leave each other, what we share is the LBJ School. This community has become a family to me, and I hope our connections remain strong in the coming decades. As we part, I now offer you an excerpt from a poem, Please Call Me by My True Names, by Thich Nhat Hanh, renowned Vietnamese Buddhist monk and poet. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this particular piece in 1978, almost 40 years ago, in response to a story of a 12-year-old Vietnamese refugee who drowned herself after being raped by a pirate at sea. After a long meditation on this account, Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this poem to urge outsiders to behold this story, the girl and the pirate, with compassion. I leave you with the opening verses. Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today, I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second, I am arriving. To be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. And with that, to my peers, or rather my colleagues now, I congratulate you on your education and expect you to pursue even greater things. After all, we are still arriving. Thank you.
Wow. This is just an experience that, as faculty, how incredibly important it is for us. It's so wonderful to see this type of camaraderie and this wonderful, articulate statement that Mary made about you. It's wonderful. It's hard to actually follow that. Okay, so we're going to switch a little bit here. It was 1971, and 4 recent University of Texas graduates decided to start an advertising agency in Austin, Texas. Then a funky little college town, back then, not now. 45 years later, Roy Spence and his partners are still together, still in Austin, and still trying to make a difference. Roy and his partners built GSD&M, and the S is Roy. And they built it into a marketing and advertising and an idea machine, helping to grow some of the world's most successful brands like Don't Mess with Texas, Southwest Airlines, Walmart, DreamWorks, the PGA Tour, BMW, the U.S. Air Force, Goodyear, and John Deere, just to name a few. Roy's passion is entrepreneurship, which he refers to as the miracle of America. He deeply believes that when America is at her best, it does not matter what your last name or your zip code is. If you can dream it, you can build it. His passion for entrepreneurship extends beyond the business community into the policy arena. He has been a strong supporter and friend to the LBJ School because he understands the value of public policy and the importance of those who work in that arena. Roy was recently inducted into the American Advertising Federation Hall of Fame in New York City and was named Ad Man of the Century by Texas Monthly Magazine. Roy has been a trusted advisor to legendary leaders, including Sam Walton and Southwest Airways founder Herb Kelleher. His counsel has been sought by U.S. presidents and leaders in the State Department. In addition, Roy led the efforts with the Ad Council to heal wounds after 9/11 with I'm an American, a public service announcement, and I don't know how many of you remembered that, but it was different faces of Americans all over this country saying, I am an American. It was a very powerful ad after that terrible event. He also wrote and produced with President Bush 41 and President Clinton the public service announcement work after Katrina and the work that they did on Haiti. So he has been instrumental in getting the messages at the highest level in times of our turmoil and grief. And he says, one of the things, I was listening to the public service ads again, and here it says, we Americans are at our best when we hear and heed the cries of others. So important. He's also the co-founder and CEO of the Purpose Institute, a consulting firm that helps people and organizations discover and live their purpose. Along with Haley Rushy, Roy co-authored the Wall Street Journal best-selling book, It's Not What You Sell, It's What You Stand For: Why Every Extraordinary Business is Driven by Purpose. Roy is also a Gallup Senior Advisor, is Gallup's expert on purpose and champion of Clifton Strengths and Movement. Roy has received Distinguished Alumnus of the University of Texas at Austin, at the University of Texas McCombs School of Business Hall of Fame inducted him, and he is a member of the Lyndon Baines Johnson Foundation board member. Roy signs every letter, every email with the words, "Ride at dawn." That's not just a sign-off, it's a 3-word manifesto, a call to action to live life in its fullest. Today, he rode at dawn to join us in the celebration. He stepped in when Mr. Brokaw was not able to be with us. This is a tremendous opportunity for me and an honor to welcome Mr. Roy Spence.
Thank you, Dean Evans, for that great introduction, although well-deserved. I'm just saying. Where's Mary? You're not only arriving, but you need to be governor of Texas. No, I am serious. I am serious. Texas, when we're at our best, always plowing new frontiers. We need a new one. I'll be talking to you. Sam, where's Sam? #1 graduate? Okay, we have nothing in common. I don't know what I ranked when I got out of school, and I don't even know if I graduated, so whatever. Brent, where's Brent? Okay, so today, and we'll do this every year if you want me to, in addition to the Redford Award, I'm giving you the Don't Mess with Texas Award. No, I'm serious. We're going to create one for you at my agency since we came up with it, and I'm fabulous. So, and also, where's Daniel? Okay, I'm matching your contribution. Write it down. I'm matching your... And that concludes my remarks. Well, I did write it down today, and I'm not worthy of being here for Tom Brokaw, but I will do my best. It's kind of silly to think that I could introduce him to you all and your parents and your grandparents, because how does one even begin to remind an audience of the enormous contribution this man, Tom Brokaw, made to the psyche of America? How can one capture the essence of someone who has been a public figure in our eyes and our ears? Thank you, it's my good side. Of some of the most amazing and horrific moments of our country. How can one presume to summarize in a few words, in a few minutes, this man, Tom, who grew up in South Dakota, whose both parents were public servants? One, his mom was in the Postal Service. His dad, Red, was in the Corps of Engineers. A man who cut his teeth on the news stories like the space race and the civil rights movement, which we know a lot about. A man who covered Castro's embracing of communism and Camelot and the Kennedys. And a man, check this out, who was in Vietnam with NBC while he was still in college. You're going to hear this refrain, but this man was in the arena. And that's where y'all are going to be too, in the arena. So Tom adequately traced the steps of a man whose passion for broadcast journalism served his professional North Star, and that means In simple words, he knew his purpose in life. How can one appreciate the talent of a man who conveys compassion while remaining detached? I don't know how to do that, but I respect it. How can one assess the value of a man who served as our guide through a number of America's most compelling and jarring times? 9/11. He did not read the news, he felt the news. And I was in Washington, our client was the Air Force when that event happened. And that's when we were driving back to Austin. And everybody was trying to see, what can you do? And I said, I want to do something. So I called 18 film directors. And I said, I want you to film every religion, every ethnic race, and I want them to say one thing: I'm an American. Because in the process of striking our enemies, I was worried we'd strike one of our own. And this man was always there covering the best of our country. How can one thank a man who recognized and celebrated a generation of citizens, heroes, heroines, who were willing to give up their lives to prefer democracy? The man who listened to the quiet voices of a generation that spoke to us of duty and honor, sacrifice and accomplishment. A generation who saved America and saved freedom here and around the world, the greatest generation of all. He heard them and he wrote about them. Tom Brokaw, how can one justify or do justice to the greatest newsman of his generation? The only person, stay with me, hosts all three major NBC things: Nightly News, Meet the Press, and the Today Show. The first one to interview then freshly released Mandela and also Dalai Lama. The only American network anchor to report live from Berlin, the only anchor to report live from Berlin when the Berlin Wall went down and the bells of freedom rang. A man who reported in more 30 documentaries, the broadcast journalist who won every single major award. I just make up mine. But anyway, 2 Peabody Awards, 2 DuPont Awards, 7 Emmys, and so many lifetime achievements. A man who was awarded the Legion of Honor by the French government for his report of World War II, and the man who was just recently received the Freedom Medal Award from our President Barack Obama. And let me tell you something, this man was always in the arena. How can one celebrate a man who fundamentally has not screwed up? That's a good line, isn't it? You wrote that. He didn't screw up. That's amazing. Like, this is the norm now. But anyway, so I'm just talking out with friends here. And job well done, Mr. Brokaw, even though, as your father and dad would say, you're no Paul Harvey. I'm going to read you, as an honor, a message to you and your parents and your grandparents and your kids and the faculty and students from Tom Brokaw. Greetings and graduates. Greeting graduates and congratulations. I was so far looking forward to sharing a cold Lone Star beer. Me too. With you in this school, but fate intervened and I can't be with you today. But I can still be with you because of my spirit and my love, but I'm having a medical treatment that I just couldn't get out of. Which brings me to my central thesis, and I want y'all to stay with me here on this one. Public affairs and the great arena of public service. Now more than ever, we need your physical and intellectual energy, your generational bandwidth, and your mastery of the tools of the digital age to rekindle the imperatives of citizenship and common cause in this moving this precious republic, which it is, by the way, into a future of relevance and achievement. You step into what passes for the real world as a time of upheaval, cynicism and disdain for the place of government. You might want to remind the cynics, though, this is the same government that held the country together during the Great Wars and the Great Depression. It is the same government who put a man on the moon. It is the same government who ended legal racial segregation, protected the air that we breathe, the medicine we take, and the food that we eat. The same government is not infallible. it requires fine-tuning and adaptation. Most of all, it requires the proactive involvement of citizens and informed, engaged people like you. John F. Kennedy was born, can't believe this, 100 years ago this month. And grew up in a family of wealth and comfort, but he turned away from a life of leisure. Only Tom can write this. From a life of leisure to a life of ideas. That's what John Kennedy did. When he was taken at too young of age, he was succeeded by a legendary Texan, Lyndon B. Johnson, whose name you carry with you, who devoted his life to the making of federal government the best friend of the poor and the forgotten. Along came Ronald Reagan with different viewpoints of government. He introduced policies of a different stripe, but it was the government and the public servants that brought that policies to life. Now we're engaged in a great debate about the future that holds us together. I'm counting on you to take an active role, whatever your philosophy. It is the essence of citizenship. It's the nourishment of free people. And at this hour in dark and dangerous places, long, far away, young men and women your age are looking, and they're locking and loading weapons, preparing for the mission to secure your freedom. They live their families, they leave them over and over again, sometimes 10, 12 duties to fulfill the ultimate responsibility of citizenship. The men and women of our military only represent 1% of our population, but they take 100% of the risk. They deserve our gratitude and prayer, so I hope you'll go forth from here with the same sense of mission, to be actively on duty as citizens of everyday life. We need your help. Godspeed. Tom Brokaw. And kind of in closing, a couple of remarks of my own. I go back to what Tom said in the beginning of these remarks. He said, quote, which brings me to the central thesis. Public affairs and the great arena of public service. Mr. Brokaw sent out the call to you because our America needs you in the great arena of public service and public affairs, maybe more so than I can remember in my modern history. I'm 68, but I look fabulous. And the compelling question that he sent out to us all, will you answer this call to get in the arena? I, along with Dean Evans and some other ones, also heard the call. And we're jumping in the arena as we speak. I'm soon launching an idea called the Promised Land Project. You're going to run it, Mary. No, I'm kind of serious about this. The Promised Land Project. It's a purpose-inspired movement led by your generation and the young at heart. That means you and me. We're the young at heart people, okay. The mighty purpose of the Promised Land Project, I've trademarked it, you can't steal it. But stay with me. The mighty purpose of the Promised Land Project is to help transform America from a polarizing, politically driven culture to a productive, purpose-driven culture. You in? We have to have our nation led by purpose and not politics anymore. We have a mighty purpose. And Mary, since you're running it, you have a challenge here because we're going to get the resources and the technology, but we want America's transformation to happen over the next 9 years. from destructive political leadership, not all but some, to purpose-inspired leadership. And I'm picking 9 years because in 2026, we'll celebrate our 250th anniversary of America, and we must regain the ideal of the promised land. Will you help? Will y'all help? There are 3 core pillars of the promised land. Number 1, purpose over politics. And by the way, Aristotle said it the best. I didn't really dig Plato, but I dig Aristotle. Here's what he said. Where your talents, and the needs of the world intersect, therein lies your vocation. God made us all different, and we judge our kids on standardized tests. Do not get me off on this. Everyone has strengths. That's what purpose does. When you find purpose in your life, you no longer have a job, you have work to do. In America, we have work to do. The second pillar of the Promised Land Project is new ideas that work instead of old ideas that suck. Are you kidding me? We can't solve these problems. They're already on the ground. We're going to move from new ideas that work from the old ideas that suck. And y'all have to take that lead, but that's going to be the goal of the Promised Land Project as well. And we're going to accomplish it in 9 years. So when we have the Declaration of Independence again in 2026, we're going to declare that we're free of money in politics and lobbyists, where the people have the idea, we get the solution on the ground, and we scale them. The third pillar of the Promised Land Project, this might be, well, they're all equally important, but this is so important. Your generation in the Promised Land Project, we have got to have renewed respect for the dignity of all work. Of all work. You and your generation and the young people and all of us, we got to start walking in each other's shoes again. We got to feel the soul of the factory shoes, as well as the mind of the entrepreneurs. We have to feel the heart of the nurses' shoes and the boots of the farmers. We have to walk in each other's shoes again, because if we don't, we won't achieve our mighty God-given potential in this country, where when we're at our best, there is no us and them, it's only us. Our God-given ideal that when we started this nation, flaws and all, we built it on this one core ideal that no one's too good and everybody's good enough. We've got to reach over and walk in each other's shoes again. Will y'all do that? Because that's the only way we'll get this thing working. So, in closing, George Bernard Shaw, he was crazy, but I love this man. On my wall is this quote, and it says that the real joy and the real thrill of life is to be used by a purpose that you yourself deem as a mighty one, to become a force of nature in the service of the greater good. That is the call for you, to get in the arena and become a force of nature serving the greater good. Lyndon Johnson did that when he went to the arena of civil rights and liberty and justice for all. Lady Bird Johnson did that when she went into the arena of protecting and celebrating our environment. So this needs to be done. The call has been made. The guts are whether you're going to answer the call. The only thing that's at stake is the promised land. And do what Emerson said. Do not go where the path may lead. Go where there is no path and leave a trail. And as Tom Brokaw said, Godspeed, and he also ended every nightly news, I'll see you along the way. God bless y'all.
Thank you, Roy. Stay tuned, because we really do have an initiative called the Promised Land, and we really want to bring in our graduates and their network and families into this movement. And we really do thank Roy for stepping in at the last moment and riding at dawn. Now's the time we've all been waiting for, which is to honor our graduates with the awarding of diplomas and the hooding of our PhD students. I'll be assisted by Associate Dean Chandler Stope, who will read the graduates' names, and LBJ graduate advisor and lecturer Lauren Raday. Also, this year we're going to be hooding the PhD students, and the folks who will be hooding them will be either the chair of their committee or the graduate advisor. So this is something new for us this year, so we wanted to keep everybody together and be in one big celebration. So here we go.
Noah Durst. Nisha Krishnan. Elijah S. Popko. Emily C. Kale. And son. Megan Reese. Mary Tan Vo. Justin Daniel Jimenez. Robert Blaine Abbott. Melvin Anthony Alec II. May Barazi. Esther Burnham. Jenny Lacoste Caputo. Julia Carrillo. Joy Kazanovsky. Morgan DeBona. Chris Ellinger. Linda Christine Henderson. Taylor Jackson. Ilyana Karic. Dave Mintz. Amy Ledbetter Parham. Roshan Phillip. Felicia Denise Retis. Yesenia Rodriguez. Allison Tate. Angela Sasser Wolf. Those were the graduates of our executive program in executive master's program in public leadership, and now I want to turn to our regular master's students. Jonathan Adams. Noura Al-Hassan. Kimberly Ann Burnson. Lauren Whitney Blair. Bryce Anthony Block. Ryan Brown. Renee Cardona, Jr. Carlo Castillo. Ria Chakrabarti. Amara Chin. Podi Chaitan. Andrew Robert Corcoran. Allison Christine Courtney. Matthew Dretson. Heather Lee Dyer. Nate Fennell. Nicole Elise Fillion. Marley Jada Frazier. Lucia Gamboa. Samuel Lorenzo Garcia. Craig Leroy Gertsch. Leslie Ann Golden. Caitlin Marie Goodrich. Kelly Christine Grajeda. Jose Guzman Ramirez. Adam Hagerman. Cheryl Adele Hancomer. Emily Michelle Hebert. Isabel Rose Hovey. Brian Charles Jackson. Lucy Moore Callison. Emma Feutel Kent. Joel David Corrales. Annie Kelly Kilroy. Tim Knadler. Samantha Krause. Christine E. Leal. Rachel Liebman. Andrew Owen Martin. Catherine Shamani Martin. Imelda Lee McClendon. Marimar Miguel. Faye Miller. David Mitnick. Alyssa Perez Morrison. Marcellus Mosley. Katie Naranjo. Maureen Nizam. Alexandra Noble. Haisam Uedat. John Richard Owens III. Cassie Gianni. Alex Payson. Carrie Timmers Pennington. Brent Wallace Purdue. Abby Marie Pfeiffer. Meredith Howe Prescott. Babak Rihani. Carrie Lynn Remsen. Caleb Rudo. Johnny Shaw. Caitlin Marie Shea, Marguerite Shea. Sadie Mae Smiles. Aaron Smith. Molly Kelder Smith. Spencer Montgomery Somerville. Quinn David Sorensen. Melissa Stelter. Samuel Story. Layla Taragi. Marin Taylor. Lauren Toppenberg. Christopher James Tracy. Brooks Troyani. Krista Lynn Wallakonis. Lindsay Schutze Ziskel.
Wow, what a class. What a wonderful day. It's called commencement because now you're commencing into doing something really wonderful. And I think the messages you heard from everybody today was we have so much faith in you, and we know you're just going to do a great job. And then meeting each of you again, giving you the diploma just gives me just great hope. You're all so wonderful and just so unique. I want to invite all of you to join us for a toast of the graduates of the LBJ School after the ceremony. We don't know what the weather is going to be like because we're in here. If the weather is bad, I just want you to all get really cozy and get into the north part of our building, and we're going to have a champagne toast, and then we can spread out a little bit. But since there's such a cohesive, collaborative group, I don't think it makes any difference if we're a little bit like sardines. I also hope the graduates will join us tonight on the March on Main. That's the Maine University festivities as well. I don't know what the weather will be like. It's hard to tell. So just stay tuned. It might be postponed. Thank you again for sharing our pride in this graduating class. Families and friends, please remain seated until our graduates finish recessing from this auditorium. And you can meet our graduates upstairs. And graduates, please stand. There's a couple things we have to do, as usual, but one is really important, and that is it's a long-standing tradition that now that you've transitioned from candidate to graduate, that we invite you to officially transfer the tassel on your mortarboard from the right side to the left side. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my immense pleasure to introduce you to the most recent graduates of the LBJ School, the class of 2017. Graduates, I encourage you to turn around and thank everyone in this auditorium who was a great support to you. Also, I want to give another thanks to the extraordinary faculty we have at the LBJ School who give a lot of time and effort for the students. Those in the front as well. Okay, so the last thing. So you're not just a graduate of the Lyndon Baines Johnson School of Public Affairs, you're graduates of UT. And so, keeping in that tradition, here we go with the hook 'em horns. We've got to start singing, right? Here we go. Also, I want to give a good shout out to the UT group who came here and just gave us this live music today. It was great. You did a great job. Woo! Okay, graduates, congratulations, and let's go.
This feeling inside my bones, it goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home, we're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason.
Thank you, everyone.
Don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. 'Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket.